So many questions still remain.
What do, how to say?
You cannot change the laws of physics.
How to, next!
Yo, you guys ready for a new premiere? The backstage show that's gonna make you stare. Cause I heard today the news is going down. The Spice Girls are coming to CITV Town. They've got the #1 spot in my affections. Got every spicy disc in my record collection. I wouldn't want to miss the chance to give a Spice Girl a kiss. Posh, she's a lady. Maybe she's got lots of eyes. Sporty really kicks. Scary just gives me a fright. Ginger's my favourite. All of them are stars and they're telling all the secrets. Thursday, 4:40 on Zigga Zigga.
We all like the good things in life, and most of us like a bargain. So I must tell you about Boundary Mill Stores at Cone. It just gets better and better. Quality ladies' wear, menswear, shoes, leisure wear, lingerie at massive savings on recommended retail prices. Plus a whole building full of lovely items for the home or for gifts. Beautiful china and glass, home furnishings and cookware. There's a coffee shop and Bannister's restaurant too. If you want quality and value on top name brands, enjoy a visit to Boundary Mill Stores at Cone.
You monkey. Charlie's always on his bum. He's never gently does it. He's a typical boy. But these people came round and asked me to do some tests, and I was shocked at what actually was going on in his nappy.
Introducing new Pampers Extra with extra protection from wetness under pressure.
In the old nappy that I used, it wasn't Pampers. When I put pressure on it, it was wet and it was squishy. So while he's playing, it would be pushed onto the skin. When I tested the new Pampers, I probably pressed harder because I wanted to prove it wrong. It's amazingly dry.
That's because we've added the extra unisex protection sheet that draws liquid in and helps prevent wetness coming back.
Charlie probably forgets that he's wearing a nappy now. He's just obviously dry.
New unisex Pampers Extra.
He's gone. Charlie!
The driest Pampers ever.
Isn't it funny how some presents aren't always what they're cracked up to be?
That's why this Christmas Asda have got 2,000 new ideas, all at permanently low prices, like our range of exclusive gifts designed by the Spice Girls. Luxury gels and sponges in their own backpacks. Over 70 cuddly toys. 2,000 new ideas and permanently low prices forever. That's Asda price.
It's Christmas!
If you watch too much television, your eyes will go square.
Don't feed your kids that rubbish. Feed them new Campbell's meatballs. Now made with pure pork and no artificial colourings or preservatives. New Campbell's meatballs. Something good for kids to swallow.
The Lock-On Twin Pack means double the action and twice the fun when you get a chance to play it. The Lock-On Twin Pack for 2 kids, or 2 bigger kids.
Danny, we're in big trouble. We need a big sword. Call up the 5 Super Zeo Zords. Combine them to become the awesome deluxe Super Zeo Megazord. With its 2 super power swords, nothing can stand in its way.
Deluxe Super Zeo Megazord from Bandai. Unleash the power.
When things get out of control, the Ward kicks into action. Streetwise drama, Tuesdays 4:40 on CITV.
In 15 minutes and 6 seconds, you will be brainier than you are now.
How light are your clothes?
How long can a submarine remain underwater undetected?
How can you take breakfast by storm?
How can I change my money?
You can change it at the post office now.
Nice thought, Charm.
Most people go to a bank, but of course you won't.
I'm not talking about that kind of money. I'm talking about the money in front of you, or maybe you failed to notice it. You will see a row of coins, a 10p, a 5p, a 10p, a 5p, a 10p.
Yeah.
The challenge is this, to change the position of the coins so that you've got all the 10p's on one side and all the 5p's on the other side. But you can only do this in 3 moves, and you've got to move 2 coins every time.
2 coins every time?
Yeah.
Any 2?
Any 2. Well, sorry, as long as they're adjacent, sorry.
They've got to be adjacent. That's quite important, then, isn't it? 1.
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, go on, you're nearly there.
Oh, I'm not far off, am I?
No, you've run out of room as well. No. Sean.
Oh, shall I give it a go? Right. 1.
Yeah.
I've
You're
run
not
out of
going to get any
coins.
further than that, are you? This is how you do it. You move these 2 over here. You then take these 2 and put them back there, and then you take these 2 lone 10p's and pop them in there, and that's how you change your money.
Well worth knowing, that is.
How can you be a right pain? And I'm not talking about Gareth either.
What are you talking about, then?
Panes of glass.
Ah, one of my favourite things. Now, you're talking about taking a lump of molten glass, and the technique, you see, is to set the whole thing spinning so that centrifugal force will send it splaying outwards, very much like...
No, Fred, a crown glass like that was replaced by plate glass long time ago. It's a bit like making pasta. What you do is you squeeze the molten glass between a pair of rollers and it comes out perfectly flat.
Oh, very artistic.
Lads,
What?
listen up. You're both way behind the times because 90% of the world's window glass is made by the float process method, and that was devised back in the 50s. You see, the problem bit about glass is keeping it smooth and flat. So this new method solved that by floating it in a tank of liquid. Now, here I've got some molten wax, and I'm going to pour that into the water, and hopefully it should give a smooth and flat surface, which of course will be absolutely perfect for making glass. And there we have a very flat surface indeed. But water isn't actually hot enough for making glass, so instead they use liquid tin. In the glass factory, they use a bed of molten tin instead of water, which helps cool the glass at the right rate. At the end of the tank of tin, they just peel off the strip of glass and cut it into chunks. The strip is made at about 1 kilometre an hour and might run continuously for 5 or 10 years. And now that the wax has set, it's perfectly flat, just like a piece of glass. And that's how.
Now, how can you pass the time when you're waiting for a haircut?
Oh, I know what I do. Usually read 3-year-old copies of Woman's Own or Reader's Digest.
Yeah,
or
no,
whatever.
I used to take me Walkman with me and listen to music.
You're on the right lines there, because I'm talking about waiting for a haircut or a shave at the barbers in America about 100 years ago. And you would probably have been sitting there listening to a sound like this.
Oh, won't you wait till the sun shines, Nellie, when the clouds go drifting by. We will be happy, Nellie, don't you cry. We'll go down Lover's Lane, we'll wander, sweetheart, you and I. Wait till the sun shines, Nellie, by and by. Sweetheart, you and I. Wait till the sun shines, Nellie, by and by and by and by and by. And by.
Absolutely marvellous. The Likely Lads Barbershop Quartet.
right.
Tim Braham. I'm surprised, really. It wasn't the actual barbers themselves that did the singing. It was the customers.
That's right. Back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, the barber shop was actually the focal point for the society, you know, the social side of things. And the guys used to gather around the barber shop, and when they were waiting for the shaves or the haircuts, one guy would start singing a melody and 3 guys would harmonise around him.
What about all the fancy costumes? How did all that come about?
Well, all that came about later on, back in 1938, the Society was formed to preserve the barbershop style, and competitions were gone into, and obviously the outfits were put on for the competitions.
And how do you set about creating this wonderful barbershop sound?
The barbershop sound is basically, as I say, that you've got the melody and you've got a tenor line above it and you've got the bass and the baritone below it. Barbershop being quite specific about having the tenor line above the melody.
Now, I haven't got a fantastic voice, but if I wanted to join in with you, how would I do it?
Basically just stand by the guy with the glasses.
Yeah, stand by
Yep.
him. And follow him, really, basically. What are we going to sing?
Blue Velvet.
Blue Velvet.
She wore blue velvet, whoa, whoa, whoa. Bluer than velvet was the night. Softer than satin was the light from the stars. She wore blue velvet.
Fantastic 4.5-part harmony. How do you stop birds from landing and taking off at airports?
Oh, pretty little birds. Why would you want to?
Well, it's actually a major problem. This has troubled airports all over the world for years. You see, birds tend to get sucked into engines of jet aircraft. Now, this is very dangerous, of course. It could stop the engine from working, could jeopardise the flight, and of course it's fatal to the poor bird involved in bird strike, as it's known. So how would you stop them? Any guesses?
Yeah, I've got a good idea. Get off the runway!
You could try that, Sean. Yes, you could, yeah.
Oh, I'd use a really gruesome scarecrow. I mean, that would scare a vulture off even, that would.
Fred, the idea is to scare them, not attract them.
Oh.
But now there is a new weapon in the war against bird strike, and it is Festuca longifolia.
I beg your pardon?
Festuca longifolia, spiky grass. You see, airports are usually covered with grass everywhere on the apron, and when the wind blows, it flattens that grass, which makes it very easy for birds to take off and land. Oh, look, there's me food, that's marvellous. However, spiky grass, Festuca longifolia, is very dense. It stays upright, and no matter how hard the wind blows, or even jet engines from aircraft, it won't bend. So when birds come to land, they can't, because it's standing up. Even if they do manage to get down there, well, it's a battle to get at your food, so they probably won't bother. And when they get down to the bottom, it's almost impossible to take off again because of the grass being much taller than the bird. But the real problem with spiky grass is its height. Once they're down there, birds can't see any predators which may be waiting around the corner to eat them up.
Anybody seen any birds anywhere?
I thought Fredo the Financial Fox was vegetarian.
Oh,
Freddy.
sorry, yes, of course he is.
So, how do you stop birds from landing and taking off at airports? Well, the natural way, with Festuca longifolia, spiky grass, that's how.
How light is your clothing?
I love lightweight shirts and suits and things. I can't bear heavy clothing.
Well, that's very sensible, Fred.
Yes.
But I'm not talking about weight here. Take a look at this. This is real fabric woven on a hand's loom, and as you've probably gathered, it's the fibres themselves that are unusual. Now, cloth is generally made by weaving fibres into a square-like pattern. These, the main structural fibres, are known as the warp. And then these cross-laid fibres are woven in and out of the warp. This is the weft. And this fabric here is made in exactly the same way, but by using optical fibres. Now, glass fibres like these are ideal for conducting light without any of it leaking out from the sides, but they do shatter when woven into cloth. In direct contrast, plastic polymer fibres really are very flexible indeed. They can be woven, and some of the light tends to escape when you bend it, so they really are ideal. Now, all this might sound very futuristic, but we're actually at a stage where clothes are about to be made from this very material. And your changing source of light could be, well, just like a pager. You'd simply clip it onto your belt. And that's how.
Oh, that's what I like. I like to be noticed. And here's something that's going to get me noticed. How can you take breakfast by storm? An exciting and innovative culinary how. It really is exciting, this, Gareth. What you do is boil up some rice, and while it's boiling, add to it a teaspoonful of salt and a tablespoonful of something you'll like, Gareth, malt extract.
Oh, I do like that,
Yes,
Fred, yeah.
which you get from health food shops.
Yeah.
Then when that rice is nice and damp, take it off there, drain it off, okay, and wash it thoroughly in cold water, and then, using your fingers, scatter it loosely over your baking
I hope
tray.
you've washed your hands.
Oh, absolutely. So scatter it, lots of space between the little bits of rice, all right?
Yep.
Then you take your glove and pop that in the oven, medium heat, for between 5 and 10 minutes. And when it comes out, it will look like that. Delicious,
Smells beautiful.
crispy rice. It's marvellous. I'm so excited about this. I am now about to go into worldwide production of my new crispy rice cereal, Freddy Breck. And I predict it's got a marvellous future.
Fred,
Yes.
Fred, this might not be an original idea.
Oh.
I think you find it's been done before.
I think several times before, Fred.
Back to the drawing board.
How long can a submarine remain underwater undetected?
Oh, weeks, possibly months,
I think.
yeah.
Even a year.
Well, let me tell you the story of the world's first powered submarine. It was called the Resurgam, which is Latin for I will rise again. It was launched on the 26th of November 1879 from Birkenhead near Liverpool. And like all the best inventions, it was drawn on the back of an envelope. Now, there had been experimental submarines before. In fact, during the American Civil War, they used submarines then, but they weren't powered. This was the world's first powered submarine, and it used a steam engine. Now, would you like to take a voyage with me below the surface?
Yes, I please.
Would. All right. Well, let's blow main ballast and take a voyage to the bottom of the sea. Welcome aboard the good sub Resurgam. All right, down below.
No, we're not all right.
It's
very hot.
Claustrophobic. That's the problem, you see. Although the Resurgam's steam engines could power the sub underwater for anything up to 4 hours, unfortunately, it also raised the temperature of the cabin to an unbearable 100 to 150 degrees Fahrenheit.
I'll tell you something else as well, mate.
What's that, Fred?
Oh, it's cramped in here.
Well, because it was so small inside and so hot, it was never going to be a terribly comfortable ride.
You can say that again.
In February 1880, the submarine's inventor, the Reverend George Garrett, and 2 crew members decided to take the submarine from Rill Harbour right down to Portsmouth for a naval review, and so towed the Resurgam behind a small steam yacht. However, bad weather hit, so the crew abandoned the submarine, the tow rope broke, and the Resurgam sank without trace.
Yeah, but wait a minute. What about the how? How long can a submarine stay on the bottom of the seabed without being detected?
Well, the Resurgam lay at the bottom of Rill Harbour in North Wales for almost 120 years, until it was discovered recently. And now there are plans to one day refloat the Resurgam, and maybe it will soon live up to its name and rise again. And that's how long a submarine can remain underwater undetected, 120 years. And that's how for now. Don't worry, fellas.
Just time for a quick look at tomorrow's CITV. More adventures with old Paddywad Bear. The laughs will be coming thick and fast, courtesy of Days Day and Cuthler.
To
remain in the shadow.